He ran as Mr. Palenque and won a seat in the Senate. He was a hot pick for president in 2010, but he gave way to President Aquino. He lost the 2010 election to Vice President Jojo Binay, but he's back in public office in charge of the country's ports and gateways. We now have here in the studio Transportation Secretary Mar Roxas. Good evening, Secretary Roxas. Welcome to Solar Network News.
Happy to be here, Pia. Good evening.
So, Secretary, let's get right to it now. Apart from reducing the thousands of buses, what is that one thing that will solve traffic congestion on EDSA? Is there such a
I don't
answer
think,
to that question?
Well, the real answer is that there probably won't be any. Every year, the auto manufacturers and the vehicle manufacturers sell anywhere from 120, 150,000 vehicles. But EDSA is not getting any wider.
Yeah.
So the volume really exceeds the physical constraints or physical limitations of our
By how much? Is there a measurement to that? Like, we don't know.
Well, the measurement is what everybody goes through on EDSA, and not just on EDSA. We should not be EDSA centric, because really the metropolis extends all across the entire NCR area. But really the traffic goes to Commonwealth, all the way to Pasay, Cavite, and so on and so forth. Now, what the government is doing is augmenting the infrastructure so that it can have a carrying capacity bigger or larger than those who want to use it. I'll give you an example. Recently, the President, Pinoy, approved two projects. These are NLEX, SLEX connectors. If I may, I brought a little bit of a drawing. These are NLEX, SLEX connectors. This is EDSA, no? This is EDSA. The yellow is EDSA, no?
All right.
Now, this is NLEX, Balintawak, heading north, and this is SLEX, Bendia, heading south, okay? The NLEX, SLEX connectors are really two elevated roadways, highways, that will start off, jointly from SLEX, heading north, and then split off in Plaza Dilao. One alignment, the reason that it's like a railroad track, will follow the PNR roadway, or the PNR right-of-way, all the way into Bulacan, and then join the NLEX in Valenzuela City. The other connector goes also on elevated tracks, all through Aurora Boulevard, into E. Rodriguez, Quezon Boulevard, and then we'll join it in Balintawak. So these two highways, both of which will be 4 lanes, 2 and 2, and then expandable to 4 and 4, meaning 8, no? Will then relieve the traffic that is now on EDSA, because all those, for example, heading north, trucks, from the port area, if you're a truck, then you don't have to go through EDSA, you don't have to go through the usual route, but then you can take this elevated road, head south.
Yeah, these are the unsolicited proposals, no?
Yes, no. Well, one is being undertaken by the Toll Regulatory Board, and the other is being undertaken by the DPWH.
Okay. So when are we going to see this?
Well,
like,
I mean,
what, 1, 2 years, 3 years, 4?
In about 2 years, I would say.
In about 2 years.
The financing is in place. Roughly, this will be jointly about 120, 140 billion pesos. It's not an easy amount to gather. That's 120 billion pesos worth of engineering, of cement, of steel bars, of construction.
Well, when you say we'll see this in about 2 years, we'll see the beginning of the construction?
We can use it.
We can use it now.
We can use
in 2 years'
We can
time.
use it in about 2 years.
Okay. But at the same time, syempre, habang ginagawa siya, gridlock, traffic,
along the alignment, there will be traffic, no? Because they're going to have to build along the alignment. But this will be elevated, and just like what we have in the elevated section of the highways, eventually, in effect, since you cannot anymore make it wider, then you just have to build higher. And we complain, ma-traffic. Pero kung gagawa naman ng paraan, we complain, but may construction. Konting pasensya.
So, pasensya na lang, sakripisyo na lang.
And then, but makikita ninyo that there will be 2 main throughways, highways, that will be connecting. Now, if you want to pay, mabilis, then you take the elevated. If you want libre, then
you take EDSA.
I mean, di ba? May choice ang lahat.
Mga magkano kaya yan?
Kinakalculate di lang ngayon.
So July 2012 ngayon, we're going to see it by July 2014.
Roughly, yes.
Roughly, okay.
Now,
Yeah.
if I might just add, because we did it earlier this morning, we launched today the pre-qualification process for the bid for a 60 billion peso project, which is the Line 1
Yes,
extension,
LRT.
the LRT Line 1
You're
extension.
getting ahead of me. I was going to go to that.
Really?
Okay, yeah.
Into Cavite. No? Again, instead of people getting on buses and then going into SLEX, heading into Manila to go into their jobs, taking an hour and a half commute, papasok pa lang sa trabaho, 1 hour and a half na, pagod na sila, then they can take the train and they'll be in the center of the city in 30 minutes. No?
30 minutes.
So
okay.
that'll be beneficial to everybody who cannot afford the high rents and the high land prices of Metro Manila, because they will be able to live in Cavite and enjoy lower rents and lower...
When are we going to see that?
That will start. We will be awarding that early part of next year. We started the pre-qualification process just today. We will be awarding that early next year, and the first half of it into Las Piñas will be by end of 2013, early 2014 as well.
Okay. Although, people can always say, ang tagal naman.
Well,
Hindi ba?
hindi naman ito na papasok tayo sa supermarket at parang Lego ito na nandyan na yan. No? But I guess, ang pinapakita nito is that most of these projects really ought to have been undertaken
many years ago.
Many years ago. And there's a lot of catch-up that President Pinoy has to do, because the preceding administration really had other agenda, as opposed to providing the infrastructure.
So wait,
I'll give an
Secretary,
example,
what's actually taking longer? The paperwork, the government, going through the government bureaucracy, or the actual building?
All of the above. All of the above. The original designs may have been outdated, so you have to update that. The foreign funders will require a certain engineering and certain actions by the government, and so you have to undertake that, and so on and so forth. So the point is that, for example, there was a project, the GMA Roro ports, roughly 15, 16 billion pesos. These were ports that were built, of which out of 72 locations, 70 were not compliant. Yun ang mga project na ginawa nung nakaraan eh. Diba? Imbes na inatupag itong mga dapat na isinagawa, ay kung ano-anong mga project ang ginawa.
Are those GMA Roro ports one of those that you bidded out? There was an advertisement for bids.
No.
Hindi ito kasama, no?
Hindi kasama yan.
Okay.
We recently bidded out a number of projects. We're quite happy with it. This is the invitation to pre-qualify and bid for the 60 billion peso Line 1 Cavite extension. And if you will notice, we're not keeping this secret. No? Because unlike in the past where it's all parang tayo-tayo, tago-tago, etc., this one will be open, free, hayag na pagbid. No? So, so this is that first project. The next one would be a bunch of municipal ports all across the country. There's one in Surigao, there's one in Albay, and so on and so forth. And we are telling the construction industry, magbakbakan kayo sa bidding, hayag ito, walang favoritism dito. Airport screening and security systems.
Sorry, I'm just trying to hurry you along. So even the Coast Guard.
We have 88 airports, not all of which are secure with the screening, and that's part of the reason why we're getting low grades in terms of security. So the original budget for this was roughly 600 million pesos. But because we're buying it in bulk, because we're buying it smarter, the Bids and Awards Committee is only saying we can do this for 300 million pesos. So there's a lot of analysis that goes into this. Hindi naman tayo waldas na tapon lang ng pera. What we want to do, we don't want to repeat what was in one of your news stories na lahat nakatiwangwang. Gastos lang ng gastos, utang lang ng utang, wala naman natatapos, nakatiwangwang lang. No? So what we want to do is we want to finish things, we want to do it properly. And in fact, the biggest security, the biggest confidence that investors have is if it is done properly, nobody can question it. Wala itong mga TRO, wala itong mga so on and so forth. No? Na nababaliktad, walang nababaliktad itong mga awards na ito. So we're taking every step, we're going by the law, we're going by the book, and in so doing, it is stable, and the projects can then proceed properly.
Okay. I noticed also that in this advertisement, for example, for the invitation to bid for the municipal ports, and in the others, no, if I'm not mistaken, wala yung mukha mo, no? Hindi katulad
Hindi naman
kasi
ako
ng ibang
binibid.
ano.
Hindi naman ako binibid.
Ayun.
Taken na ako eh.
Oh, okay. All right. Let's go to the NAIA congestion issue, one of the favorite issues for a lot of people. There is all that talk about building the fast train or building the ang dami, no? Ang daming.
Right.
So ano yung magiging solution natin dito? Bukod sa don't let the plane leave another airport going into Manila
Well,
unless
these are stopgap. I mean, the project to go to Clark has been around for a long time. Unfortunately, nothing happened. The train system that would have brought passengers to Clark and back to Manila really was bastardized from a high-speed rail project into a slow commuter project that doesn't even get into the central business district in Manila, nor does it get to the Clark Airport. Plus, it was overpriced.
Okay.
So, we are starting right. We're starting properly. What we're doing is we're looking to do a high-speed rail connection so that we can move to Clark. That is our future. Clark has 2,000 hectares, Pia, of runway. It was built by the Americans. It can take, the runway there can take their military wing plane, so it can take 747, etc. So that is our future. In the meantime, since we cannot do that overnight, what we have to do is make the most of what we can in NAIA. And that's why we're building rapid exit taxiways. We're coordinating so that they don't fly back before there's a slot for them. And we're doing what we can. In fact, what we're saying is for the airlines to spread out their flights, particularly in the airports that have night rating, throughout a larger portion of the day so that hindi sila nagsisiksikan at nagdi-delay ang kanilang mga aeroplano.
And speaking of rapid exit, let's exit to politics naman, no? Some people say 2013 is going to be a proxy war between you and Jojo Binay.
I don't know. Maybe I don't know who you talk to. Nobody's told me that.
Okay. Well, people from UNA.
Well, that's the way they look at things, possibly. I mean, it's reflective of their mindset, which is politika, kami-kami, kayo-kayo, tayo-tayo. We don't look at things that way, Pia. No? I mean, we have a program of government. We are a liberal party. We're famous for having our program of government. We fight the good fight. We're not just there, tayo-tayo, kami-kami. What we do, in fact, is negotiate, for example, with other parties so that they can support the president's program. For example, there will be reform in the sin taxes. We're talking to the other political parties so that we can have the proper vote, so that we can pass reforms in the sin taxes. We're doing a SOFA on Australia so that there can be training. We can protect our southern flank. We're also looking for their support in that respect. So it's not just kami-kami, tayo-tayo, and certainly it's all of our talks and negotiations, our premise always start with what's the platform of government? What do we want to do?
Okay, of course, but everybody notices that you really just steer clear of 2013, 2016 politics and Jojo Binay. But anyway, thank you very much,
Happy
Secretary
to be here.
Roxas. Maraming salamat po.